That gut-wrenching anxiety is not passion. It's your body screaming, I don't feel safe. And if someone is giving you mixed signals, stop sitting there trying to translate. That is the message. And this episode is for the ones who are tired of decoding breadcrumbs and ready to demand the whole meal. Hi, I'm Gabby Roberts, and welcome back to the Grow with Gabby podcast. This one is the ones who's ever confused anxiety for passion. The ones who've sat there wondering, am I crazy? Or is this not what love's really supposed to feel like? For the ones who felt like they're too much, for asking for what they deserve. But before we dive in, go ahead and hit that follow and subscribe button so you never miss any more of these mic drop moments that are going to happen today. Okay? Let's get into it. So there's a few parts. Part one, we're going to talk about why you keep confusing love and pain. Okay. Now, let me just first start by saying this is a matter of wiring and the way that your brain has been conditioned over the years. You are not broken. There's nothing wrong with you. Okay. Please hear me when I say that, because your brain and your nervous system are wired to pay attention to what feels familiar, not necessarily safe. And I know that can be confusing. So hear me out. If you grew up with love that was super hot and cold, just unpredictable, completely conditional, who just neglected that piece that you were missing, that connection piece. You just were all walking on eggshells around them constantly. Yeah, your brain now equivalates the chaos to love, because that's all you knew growing up. And it's, again, doesn't mean you're a bad person, doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with you. It just means you didn't have the tools that you needed when you were small. Okay. So when we come to terms like the attachment styles, when we get older, where do those stem from? When you were small. So it's not that you're doing anything wrong. It's simply that your body knows what's familiar rather than what is safe. Okay. So when we talk about like the anxious attachment style, this is going through being completely confused and really craving that anxiety part of things, the passion, if you will. Why aren't we fighting? Why aren't we, like the passion truly? It's because like your nervous system thinks that level of uncertainty equals love. So the anxious attachment is usually like the one that's truly worried about being abandoned. There's a lot of abandonment here. It's please don't leave me. I'll do anything for you. I'll change anything and everything. Just tell me what to do. Just don't leave me. Right? So you're always anxious about if they're happy, if they're going to text you back, what kind of mood they're in. And that can be really exhausting. So there's other parts of the attachment styles that we can go into, right? Like it's not just being the anxious attachment. There's avoidant. You may confuse distance for independence, if you will. Some people are just used to being on their own, so they tend to kind of add that distance between as a sense of protection, okay? And that's because your nervous system thinks, love equals maybe losing yourself. So I have to distance myself, and I'd rather distance myself than to get hurt again, right? So that's hard. I personally am the anxious attachment, and I have learned to grow into more of a secure attachment. And I notice that when I am able to be in that secure attachment area, it's when I'm not triggered by things, And so we always are like, oh, I'm good, until something comes in and wrecks us. Like I was just talking to someone the other day, and he's like, I didn't know that I was like this until this shit came in and it hit hard and it hit fast. And I'm like, yeah, that's usually how it works, because you don't know till you know, and that's why we're here learning. That's why we're growing. And this is why you keep confusing the love with pain, because again, it all comes with attachment and the way that you were raised, the way that you were conditioned to crave your version of love. This isn't the same for everyone. Like I was of deep anxious attachment. I've even been like really disorganized attachment, where it's just like you kind of swing in between both of the anxious and the avoidant. There's dismissive, there's fearful. Again, I'm either don't leave me, I need to spend all my time with you, or I'm just gonna put some distance to protect myself. And honestly, I've been both. I've been kind of disorganized here, where it might swing between this feeling of, again, like I need them to, I don't like them right now and I want to be away from them, because your brain, again, doesn't know what feels safe and doesn't. So it's very important to know what safety feels like for you, because safety in my body and my nervous system is going to feel completely different. And so just also know that when those triggering times come up, it's not because you've done anything wrong or you're not doing the process right or you're not in this secure attachment. No one is 24/7. We all feel those moments of fear and joy and happiness and pain and all of the things. I mean, that's just being human. Okay. So just know that whatever attachment style you are, it's all about awareness. We're not figuring these things out to be like, okay, this is what's wrong with you and this is how you can fix it, right? Or learning that there's a one size fixes all. And again, there's not, you don't need to fix yourself because you're not broken. But the more you become aware of your tendencies, it's easier to then structure those, to maybe tweak a couple things so you can grow. Because we're supposed to change, we're supposed to grow, we're supposed to evolve. We're not always meant to stay the same. So if you're like, oh my gosh, I'm totally the avoidance side, I am completely the anxious attachment side, that's okay. Learn what works for you and then start learning, what do I need in this moment to make me feel safe? Why do you think I always have, a blanket or something I'm messing with, like my hair? These things make me feel calm because sometimes I can be really anxious. My mind goes a little too fast for me at times. Is that because I'm broken? No. It's because, one, my body's self-soothing. Two, it needs something to focus on. So it's not thinking about being left, right? And that's why it's important to be in a secure relationship, because with your partner needs to be secure as well. It's a hard combination when you have the avoidant meeting the anxious, because one wants their space and the other one's like, I need you to talk to me, and that can cause a lot of friction, a lot of tension, a lot of pressure. Okay, so your attachment style, whatever it may be, isn't your fault. And this doesn't always have to apply to being with the love of your life. This could be attached to friends, to family, to businesses, coworkers and your partners, like literally any connection in your life you can feel an attachment to. So attachments aren't always bad. You can have a secure attachment, so just know that it's not your fault. You're not broken, but healing it and growing through it, that is your responsibility to take ownership and say, okay, these are where I feel like I'm not showing up in the way that I could. What can I do to improve? It's not, why am I like this? And, oh, you stupid idiot, change. No, 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 no. Trust me, trying to add pressure to the things on your plate that you need to change is not a great way to do it, because pressure, even loving pressure, can still feel like pain, can still feel like, well, I'm trying my best and it's just not enough. So keep your intentions clear, keep your expectations low here. We're not trying to fix it overnight. We're just being aware. Okay. So if this is your first time learning about an attachment style, welcome. There's nothing wrong with you. You're not behind. You're learning this right here, right now for a reason. And I'm so glad you're here. We talk a little bit about attachment style, right? There's also a communication style. There's a love language. There's many things that go into what makes you you. There's your human design. There's your personality traits, all these things. But for now, we're just going to talk a little bit about some love languages, because they're not always about love. It's about safety. It's what makes me feel loved. Yes, what's underneath love? Safety. What makes me feel safe? So if your love language, for example, is words of affirmation, there's 5. Sometimes there's one that's at the top and you're like, that is the thing I need. That's my number one go-to every time. For me, it used to be acts of service. But I realize through time, I think it's words of affirmation. So if it is words of affirmation for you, but you're with someone who rarely says, I love you, or you matter, or I see you, or you're doing amazing and I'm proud of you, your nervous system is like starving for that validation. It feels like it needs it. Okay. So again, there's nothing wrong with having love languages. It's just getting really clear with what I want, what I need, and is my partner or whoever this person is able to give me that? Am I able to even give me that as well? Because most times the things we do for other people are slight little subtle projections of what we want in a relationship. For instance, if your partner has the love language of words of affirmation and your love language is acts of service, and every time they're upset, you're going around and you're cleaning the house and you're getting them things and you're doing stuff for them, and they're just like, I don't need that right now, because they're trying to show you what love they need. So sometimes it's reverse. So you just have to sit here and be aware without judgment of what's going on. How do I function? What is my love language, right? There's quizzes for this. There's stuff to find out. They're all over the internet. Google it, okay? That starving feeling, though, is really uncomfortable. So know that it's not just about love and the things that you need. This is what makes me feel safe. And those things should be honored, And if your person can't give you those love language, well, then you can have a conversation. And these conversations should not be things that tear you apart. These conversations should be things that bring you closer together. I know it's hard having a hard conversation with the person you care about, but after you do it, the love, the respect, the empathy, the validation you have for that person is like so much deeper. It should bring you closer together. Okay. So let's talk about if your love language is quality time. Okay. But you're with somebody who just needs a lot of their own me time. They're very detached, they are distant, and your brain is screaming to yourself, okay, well, clearly I don't matter. And that's very difficult. So you have to know, what is my love language? What is the partner that I'm with? What is their love language? And how can we make this work for the both of us? Okay. So then there's also acts of service. There's also like gifts, I think, as well. I thought there was like one more. Acts of service, quality time, words of affirmation, gifts. I think there's like one more. I cannot remember what it was. But the big ones really are words of affirmation, quality time, acts of service. Because if you need some quality time and that person is not there to give it to you, then you're not feeling safe in your body, in your love life, in your relationship, whatever it may be. If you have a very holistic business and you're like, hey, I need from my boss them to tell me I'm doing well, them to check in on me, them to give me these, hey, I saw you were swamped today, so I went ahead and I just got that email done, sent it for you. Like, that's incredible. It's not typical with corporate because everyone has like their little chains of commands or whatever, but it's possible. So you just have to realize, what do I want? What do I need? How can I get these things? And how can I give these things as well? So if your love language is acts of service and you're with somebody who never shows up and never does anything for you, it feels like you're begging for scraps, which can feel so frustrating when you probably just need to communicate. This is what I need. You're doing these things that I don't actually need. Remember, when you do these things, I feel like I'm being dismissed. I feel like I'm starving for attention. I feel like I don't matter, right? Because this is about you and your boundaries and what you want is what makes you feel safe, okay? The boundaries are always for the person who sets them, okay? So love languages are not just about preferences. They're needs that you have. And those needs deserve to be met, not only by yourself, but by the people around you. And it's not their responsibility, but if you're going to get into a partnership with somebody, they agree. This is what I can do for you. What can you do for me? It's this equal law of exchange here. It's not always going to be 50-50. Sometimes it's 80-20. Sometimes it's 90-10. Sometimes it's 95-5. Let's be honest. But we still focus on balancing and communicating and giving the ones that we love what they deserve, okay? And if those needs, again, are not being met, that's not love. That's survival. And now I'm not saying your needs need to get met right here, right now, every single time, forever, perfection. No. But eventually, if you can work towards them, great. And if it's just not working and you're beating your head against the wall and you're like, what is happening? Maybe it's time to sit back and say, okay, this isn't working. Why not? And before you just up and run, okay? Because some of those fearful and avoidant and dismissive attachment styles that we are like so far gone, like peace. No, we got to start learning, how can I communicate what I need, which taps into the communication styles, okay? So are you speaking the same language? Sometimes you can be trying to get everything you're trying to say out, but it doesn't come across to the other person in the way that they need. Okay, so there's a few kind of communication styles. There's passive communicators. Hello, people pleasers. We just try to be invisible so we don't upset anything and bother anyone and just like give them what they need so no one's upset with me. That goes with the anxious attachment style. Okay, there's a lot of deep abandonment with the people pleasers. They just don't want people to be upset, right? Because it disrupts their nervous system. Okay, there's the aggressive communicators that demand instead of connect, and they wonder why people shut down because they just take up the whole room and they're like, this is what I need. And that's a lot of very powerful energy, and it can overwhelm some people. Okay, so there's passive aggressive. That's what I have tended to be in the past. I kind of drop hints and then I get mad when they don't really get it, and I'm just like, I've been telling you all day, like, well, why don't you understand? And it can be very frustrating for yourself because you don't even know what you're trying to get across because you're not being clear. And same for the partner. Okay, so there's also assertive. Assertive is the goal. Okay, this is like the secure communication style, if you will. So there's the assertive communicators. This is the goal. This is basically the secure communication style. Okay, we want the secure attachment style. We want the secure communicators. They say what they mean. They have kindness. They have clarity. This one's my husband. He's so secure, like 99% of the time. Every now and again, he'll tap into a little bit of the people pleasing and just try to fix it because he hates to see me upset. But at the same time, I'm like, I'm allowed to be upset. I'm allowed to cry because this is my way of processing. And you're allowed to feel how you feel too. But you don't need to people please. You know, it's a process. So the point is, before you run, before you decide that the relationship is doomed, you got to get across how you meet. And you got to get across what you're trying to say in a way that connects to the person. Because if you're angry and you're confused and it doesn't even make sense to you, how are you supposed to get that across to another person, you know? So if you're constantly confused and anxious and walking on eggshells, then there brings up a couple more things that, okay, maybe I'm not bad at communicating. It's that my needs genuinely are not being met, and I'm speaking to somebody who doesn't want to understand me. Because there's ways to understand. You can learn about your attachment style. You can learn about your love language. You can learn about your communication styles. You can grow. And again, if a hard conversation is going to ruin you, well, that's not love. And that's not someone that's willing to work with you. Because yes, those hard conversations feel like you're being chased by a lion. And then afterwards, it feels like you got hit by a freaking dump truck. It's not fun. They're not roses and daisies. You're not smiling through the conversations and flirting and being like all over each other. No, you're sitting there. You're uncomfortable. Sometimes you're crying. Sometimes you got to take a few pauses and then come back to the conversation. But is it worth getting through it with your person? Absolutely. Okay. So that's just part one, guys. We're getting really clear on what do I need? How can I ask for it? How do I feel loved? How do I feel safe? What do I need to make sure my partner knows so we can have a good relationship together? Okay. Which leads me into part two. How to stop confusing love and pain. Okay. We're going to give you some tools here. We talked about the styles of communicating in love and how you want to feel safe, but what are some tools that actually help? First is name the pattern. If you keep seeing the same thing happen over and over and over again, it needs to be addressed. Okay. So grab a journal, write it down. Where do I feel anxious in my relationship right now? Okay. Or in the past. Okay. You don't have to figure it out. You don't have to put pressure on it or perfect it or assume that anyone's going to change overnight. But getting aware is very important, and naming it is very powerful because once it's out there, then you can decide what to do with it. Okay. So ask yourself, write it down. What love behaviors actually feel to me icky and they make me feel alone and not good, right? Write them down. Next, what did I learn about love as a kid? And how is this still serving me now? Sometimes there's patterns and behaviors and tendencies you pick up on because you saw your parents do it or your caregivers. And that's okay. So when you name the thing, the pattern, you are taking back your power, saying, I can do something about this. If you just ignore it and expect it to go away, it doesn't. Okay? Avoiding hard conversations does not fix your relationship. It ruins it. Okay, so step 2, rewire your brain for self-love. If you're the anxious attachment, practice it. Say, my worth isn't up for debate. This is who I am, and I'm not going to change who I am. Okay? It's not even about changing, actually. I kind of retract that last one. Actually, Tegan, let's pause and go back to the anxious attachment thing. If you're the anxious attachment, practice. Say it out loud. My worth is not up for debate. Let it feel real. Let it register. Let the body hear you. Okay? If you're avoidant attachment, practice saying out loud, I can need someone and still be me. Take a deep breath. Exhale. Okay? If you're the disorganized, if you're somewhere in between the two, or you're fearful or detached, practice saying aloud, I'm allowed to trust and to walk away when I need to. And take a breath. Exhale. Okay? Healing is not about finding the perfect love. No one's perfect. Some people may feel perfect for you, but they're not perfect. They have their flaws and you accept their flaws. It's about, again, not being perfect. It's about becoming the person that knows what love should feel like. It's not always going to look glamorous, but you can at least be consistent in the way that it feels. Okay? Step 3, demand clarity. No more decoding, no more breadcrumbs, okay? No more eating that shit up and asking for seconds. No. If there's someone's words and their actions are not matching those words, that's your answer. It's not that they're not going to change ever. It just may not be for you right here and right now. People only change when they want to change. Trust me, I've dated a few fixer-uppers that I really thought I could save, and they did not change. Did they learn things from dating me? Absolutely. Did I learn things from dating them? Absolutely. But did they change for me? No. Did that hurt me? Yes. Did I have to walk away? Yes. Okay? So if you're anxious more than you're at peace, that's your answer. Listen to the red flags that are already here. Take those rose-colored glasses off your face. I know it sucks and I know it hurts, but I'd rather someone feel pain and loneliness rather than ever settling for what they don't deserve, right? So if you're always the one initiating and compromising and apologizing and willing to grow, again, what am I going to say? That's your answer. Yeah. Love shouldn't feel like a puzzle, shouldn't feel confusing all the time. It should feel like you finally found someone that made you feel like home. Okay? And I mean that with all of my heart. And trust me, I was confused for years and I thought that I found it and I convinced myself I did. I was like, this is it. This is the person. I know it in my heart. There's no way there's anyone better for me after this person. This is my soulmate. And I was wrong. Dead wrong. And now I'm with someone who's actually my soulmate. And I'm so honored that I wasn't with that person. And no wonder it didn't work with them because I was never meant to be with them. Okay? So I'm going to leave you with some journal prompts today. And we're just going to keep journaling with awareness here. We're not meant to judge anything that you're doing. Okay? Write it down. Where in my life am I confusing anxiety for pressure and passion? Okay? Anxiety is not natural in love, okay? And I don't mean because he said I need to talk and you're freaking out. I'm talking if love, true love, does not disrupt your nervous system fully like that, okay? Write down what's one love behavior that I've normalized that's actually really hurting me. And then ask yourself, what would love feel like if it were safe? And if you're like, I don't know, that's okay. We're naming it here. We're not finding a solution and fixing it overnight. We're going one step at a time. Okay, so that's what I got for you guys. If this episode made you feel less alone, less crazy, less like you're asking for too much, then share it with someone who you think needs to hear it and tag me on Instagram because I want to reach out and tell you thank you because this is the only way that this podcast grows is by you sharing it. So tell me, tag me on Instagram at gabbyroberts.coach. What's one love behavior you're finally willing to walk away from that didn't actually feel like love, but you thought it was in the beginning? And that's okay. I won't judge you. I've probably been there. Okay. And if you're feeling ready to stop begging for crumbs and start actually attracting the love that you deserve from yourself, from your partners, from your friends, from your family, from your business, from your coworkers, from your boss, I've got something for you. On February 22nd, I'm going into a deep masterclass full of manifesting your ideal partner, how to stop settling and find and attract the love that you deserve. Okay? Go online, to gabby-roberts.com/feb/masterclass. Okay. And if you guys need the link, it'll be down in the show notes. Okay. So I'm going to just remind you, my friend, that you are already enough. There's no decoding, there's no performing, there's no begging for love. Now go choose the love that chooses you again and again and again. Okay? I'm going to leave you the same way I leave you every time. Be fearless, be free, be loved. No apologies, no excuses, and no crumbs.